Robert Benzie, who's standing by. He is the Toronto Star's bureau chief for Ontario's legislature, Queen's Park. Good to see you, and your read on this firestorm here.
Hi, Todd. Yeah, it's an interesting little maelstrom that is started by the Premier. Ironically, what he was trying to do was call for more people to come to Ontario. He was saying yesterday that he's written to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau asking for more immigration to lift the quotas because Ontario has about 300,000 jobs that it needs filled. And for whatever reason, and for reasons only known to him, he decided that he would keep talking yesterday near Windsor and started talking about how, one criteria, only hardworking people need apply. You don't want to have people come here and collect the dole. Not that there's any suggestion that new Canadians do come here and start receiving welfare. So it was just one of these really stupid gaffes that politicians make. And I don't actually think that it's what the Premier meant to say. I mean, he was given a chance to correct the record today, and he didn't take it for whatever reason. I mean, he could have just said, "Look, I misspoke," but he didn't. He just said, I am pro-immigration, which I believe that he is. And he started talking about his voting coalition, the so-called Ford Nation that supported him and his late brother, Rob Ford, who was the mayor of Toronto for a few years a while back. And I think that has caused him a problem within his own party, because roughly 25% of the Tory caucus is made up of new Canadians, and they don't want to be talking about this stuff. They don't want me on your show, Todd, talking about this. That they'd rather be talking about how the pandemic is going, or other things like that, other initiatives that the government's working on. So it's an example of when a politician talks too much.
Yeah, we covered the press conference live here, Robert, on the show, and that sort of jumped out to me when he said that. And then I was following you on Twitter, and I saw you had a sort of verbatim, quote of exactly what Doug Ford said, including that comment. The amount of support he has among new arrivals in Ontario, the so-called communities from different places that have come here now and started new lives. When he says that's a bedrock of his, core supporters, is that true?
Yes, his riding is one of the most diverse ridings in Ontario, Etobicoke North. It's the riding with the largest percentage of black voters of any riding in the province. A lot of Somalis, Jamaicans, other folks from the West Indies. It's a thriving area for South Asians and others. So and the Premier himself, and I've watched him at events over the years. That is not only is it his voting base, it is also these are also the folks that he feels the most comfortable with. He's much more comfortable in a room full of new Canadian business people, for example, than he is with Bay Street Albany Club types who he finds are a bit. They don't seem to like his shtick. He feels a little out of sorts with those people, with classic old style conservatives, white folks. So it was interesting. I mean, I still don't really know what he was thinking when he was saying what he said yesterday, because I don't really think that's how what he believes.
What's the fallout from this, if anything, do you think? I mean, there is an election coming up next year, as you know. Your read.
Look, I mean, it's not helpful. If I were the Liberals or the New Democrats, I would be using that in attack ads, and I presume that they will be. Both Stephen Del Duca and Andrea Horwath, as you showed that clip, they've asked for the Premier to apologize. Mike Schreiner, the Green leader, has also asked for the Premier to retract his comments, and it's the kind of thing it's kind of sticky. So he's going to have to watch it. I mean, he may have to clarify it tomorrow if it comes up again in question period, or if reporters ask him at the next availability about what he was meaning. It's just one of these things. Sometimes you're better just to say, you know what, I messed up. It's not what I meant to say, and I'm sorry I hurt people's feelings, and then move on to the next subject. I don't know. I never understand, and not just with Premier Ford, with any politician, why they let things fester. Look how long it took Justin Trudeau to apologize for his trip to Tofino. Things like that. I never understand why politicians don't just yank the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, well said. Robert, good to have you with us. Thanks for taking some time for CTV, as always.
My pleasure, Todd.
Robert Benzie is the bureau chief at Queen's Park for the Toronto Star.